A lot of great things happen this month, and you probably missed them with, everything else going on. For instance, did you know that Colorado reduced car accidents involving animals by 90% thanks to new wildlife crossings? Or that India successfully eliminated a disease that once caused blindness for many? Hey, I'm your host, Regis, and let's dive into these inspiring updates and the good things happening all around the world. We've got some good news coming in from the United States, where the supply of fentanyl appears to be drying up. Fentanyl is a strong synthetic opioid responsible for overdose deaths because it's mixed with other drugs without the user's knowledge. When it first started being sold on American streets in 2012, many believed that it would be impossible to stop. But thankfully, this does not appear to be the case now. Over the last 6 months, there's been a really important development. The illegal supply of fentanyl on the streets of California, West Virginia, Maryland, Arizona, Missouri, and other parts of the United States has slowed down considerably. It's still unclear exactly why this is happening, but several explanations have been proposed. Firstly, it seems that a much weaker and less dangerous industrial chemical called BTMPS is being used as a replacement for fentanyl. Now, this may be because the Mexican cartels themselves want to slash deaths so that there's less law enforcement focus on them. The reduction might also be a result of a Biden administration policy that's been specifically targeting these gangs by increasing fentanyl seizures on the border, arresting cartel bosses, and targeting their financial assets. Alternatively, some believe that international pressure on Chinese companies that make the fentanyl precursor chemicals is finally taking effect. Finally, others point to the effectiveness of addiction treatment and the more widespread use of a drug overdose reversal medication called naloxone. Next up, we take a look at recent medical achievements, and a big one is that India has just officially eliminated trachoma. Trachoma is a bacterial disease that's the leading cause of blindness worldwide. It's most commonly found in places that have poor hygiene and sanitation, and it disproportionately affects children. Repeated infections cause the eyelids to become so damaged they turn inwards. This then makes the eyelashes scratch against the eyeball, resulting in constant pain and eventually blindness. In partnership with the World Health Organization, India's been fighting against this horrible and preventable condition since the early 1960s. And finally, in just the last month, they reached a major milestone for the country. Trachoma has been officially eliminated as a public health problem. This amazing achievement is the result of the nationwide implementation of a 4-step strategy developed by the WHO called SAFE, which stands for Surgery, Antibiotics, Facial Cleanliness, and Environmental Improvement. Surgery and antibiotics refer to India's long-term efforts to operate on and give medicine to affected children. Facial cleanliness relates to their push to educate citizens about face washing, which prevents trachoma. Lastly, environmental improvement alludes to the various measures implemented by the country to improve water access and sanitation that's limited its spread. Now, speaking of limited spread, this month has also been a great month for cancer treatment. A medical trial has shown that a drug combination can stop lung cancer from advancing for longer. Lung cancer is the most common form of cancer death globally, and it's most deadly in the later stages. Now, currently, the best way to slow down the development of non-small cell cancer, which accounts for about 85% of all cases, is through a drug called osimertinib. On average, this leads to a progression-free survival rate of 16.6 months. A new trial, though, has found a drug combination that works even better. Amivantamab and lazertinib specifically target cancer cells to stop their growth and have a progression-free survival rate of 23.7 months on average. But it's not only lung cancer that's experienced a significant setback. A new treatment regime has cut the risk of dying from cervical cancer by about 40%. Cervical cancer is responsible for about 350,000 female deaths annually, and it returns in 30% of all cases. At the moment, the best way to get rid of it is through a mixture of chemotherapy and radiotherapy called chemoradiation. And it turns out that even more chemotherapy is the key to making it more effective. According to researchers at University College London, undergoing a 6-week course of induction chemotherapy before the standard chemoradiation cuts the risk of death by a staggering 40%. This also reduces the chances of the cancer coming back within at least 5 years by 35%. From medical achievements to environmental protection, over 52% of Australia's oceans have just been given protective status. 2 years ago, a State of the Environment report compiled by scientists condemned the Australian government for not doing enough to safeguard its land and marine environments from climate change, habitat loss, invasive species, pollution, and mining. Above all, the most shocking revelation was that at least 19 separate ecosystems were in a state of collapse or near collapse. The almost complete disappearance of Tasmania's underwater kelp forests, as well as the continued bleaching of the coral in the Great Barrier Reef, were among the most distressing examples. This prompted them to promise that they would work towards protecting 30% of their landmass and ocean territories by 2030. Well, now they've gone from one extreme to the other. Australia has declared that it'll protect not 30%, but 52% of its seas, the most out of any country on Earth. More specifically, they've agreed to enlarge the Heard Island and McDonald Islands Marine Reserve, an isolated island chain about 4,000 kilometers southwest of Perth. It'll be expanded by about 300,000 square kilometers, which is roughly the size of Italy. While some have criticized the government for leaving out some of the most vulnerable conservation areas, it's definitely a step in the right direction. The same could also be said for Ohio's Cuyahoga River, which is making a comeback after centuries of pollution. And before we show you this great news story, we quickly want to thank our partner CyberGhost VPN for sponsoring this video. With over 38 million users worldwide, it's one of the most trusted VPNs out there, and it's got a near perfect rating on Trustpilot, with more than 20,000 people rating it as excellent. So let us quickly tell you why CyberGhost is such a great choice. A VPN can be essential for protecting your digital privacy, and if you think you're already covered because you only browse in incognito mode, think again. Plenty of eyes are watching you every time you go online, and incognito mode only gives you a false sense of privacy. Your internet service provider, your school or work's IT department, even your home Wi-Fi router, they can all track what you do online. To put a stop to this privacy invasion, what you need is a VPN. And that's where CyberGhost VPN comes in. Just turn on CyberGhost VPN before you browse, and it encrypts and reroutes 100% of your traffic through their secure servers, so no one will even know about your online activity. It's all really simple, and CyberGhost has servers in over 100 countries ready to cater to your every need. CyberGhost also unlocks geo-restricted content from over 40 streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Disney+. You can even score better deals online or unlock games that are blocked in your region just by simply changing your location. CyberGhost works on all major devices and operating systems: Windows, Mac OS, Android, iOS, and you can protect up to 7 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with friends and family. And don't worry, they don't keep any logs of what you do online. Even they won't know. With our link, cyberghostvpn.com/good news, you get their best deal ever. Just $2.03 a month, plus 4 months free, which is 84% off. There's even a 45-day money-back guarantee, so you literally have nothing to lose. It's a great product. We here at Good News can definitely recommend it. And by signing up using our link in the description, you can also help us to create more Good News videos just like this one. Thank you again to CyberGhost VPN, and now back to the great comeback of the Cuyahoga River. Since as far back as the late 1800s, industrial waste from local factories was dumped in the Cuyahoga River, making it one of America's most contaminated waterways. Then around the turn of the 20th century, it became even grimier when raw sewage from nearby cities began to be pumped into it. Historically, the river has been so full of trash, chemical waste, and oil that it's caught fire a number of times. It was one of these blazes that actually spurred the US to form the Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, in 1970. What followed was a much-needed half-a-century-long cleanup. Now, progress has gone so well that right now, it's on course to meet all of the EPA's water quality standards by 2030. In turn, this has opened up the possibility of revitalizing the local wildlife. Recently, conservationists reintroduced a small batch of lake sturgeon, which require relatively clean water to thrive. If they settle in nicely, it's hopeful that larger releases will follow in the next year. We now want to focus on a recent discovery, as the oldest living microbes have been discovered in an underground rock. The Bushveld Igneous Complex is a mineral-rich geological formation about the size of Ireland that's situated in South Africa. Basically, it's a massive collection of rocks that was formed by slowly cooling volcanic magma about 2 billion years ago. These contain several deep cracks that provide the perfect sheltered conditions for microbial life to thrive. Now, recently, researchers from the University of Tokyo retrieved a rock sample from one of these fissures. When they cut it open, they found the oldest bacterial life ever. Previously, the record was held by a 100 million year old bacteria. It's now been pushed back a staggering 1.9 billion years, as these microbes have been dated to 2 billion years old. That is truly ancient. These tiny germs will shed more light on the earliest forms of biology on Earth, and they've opened up the possibility that similarly old rocks on Mars may be good places to search for signs of life. Alright, let's take a look at what's happening with wildlife conservation. For one, Colorado is becoming a world leader in constructing wildlife crossings. Every year in Colorado, there are at least 4,000 crashes involving cars and animals. A solution to this is to build overpasses and underpasses that allow wildlife to cross over roads without the risk of being hit. For a while, this is exactly what officials in Colorado have been doing, and plenty more are on their way. So far, they've built more than 40 of them in areas where animals are most likely to cross, and it's having a really noticeable effect. According to the latest data, accidents have decreased by an incredible 90%. 2 safari parks in the United Kingdom have completed a rhino swap that will unite 2 sisters for the first time. The southern white rhino is among the most endangered species on the planet. A handful of these beautiful creatures currently reside in the United Kingdom, where 2 zoos have organized a very important swap over. Bonnie, a 2-ton female, has been reunited with her sister at West Midlands Safari Park. According to the zookeepers, the 2 broke the ice with a friendly pushing match. Now, in exchange, a male named Granville, known for his friendliness and love of attention, will go to Woburn Safari Park in Bedfordshire. It's hoped that he'll play a key role in his species' survival by fathering many healthy little rhinos, which, by the way, are unbelievably adorable. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. We want to take a look at developments regarding renewable energy. Engineers have created a solar-powered desalination system that requires 0 extra batteries. Desalination systems remove salt from water to make it safe and drinkable. Many of them run on renewable energy such as solar power, so they can operate in isolated, poorer regions of the world that don't have readily available access to electricity. But the problem with the current versions is that too many of them need constant power to operate. Because the sun doesn't always shine consistently, a lot of them are fitted with additional costly batteries to make up for dips in the power supply. Now, this is where the latest development from MIT could make a real difference. It's designed to run in accordance with the rhythms of the sun. If there's a lot of sunlight, the rate of desalination is accelerated. But then, if a cloud passes over and blocks the sun, for example, it's reduced. On average, 94% of the energy harnessed goes directly towards the desalination process. Because it's energy efficient, it uses a battery that's far smaller and less powerful than those used by current models. The invention, which is fully automated, is specifically designed to purify salty, brackish groundwater, untapped potential source of drinking water that's much more abundant than fresh groundwater sources. Over the course of a day, it can produce enough water to meet the needs of, get this, 3,000 people, and that number will increase as they scale it up. The world's first lithium-sulfur battery gigafactory is going to be built in Nevada. Lithium-sulfur batteries have a number of advantages over traditional lithium-ion batteries. They not only possess higher energy density, meaning it can pack more energy into less space, but they could also be a lot cheaper to make. This is because their key ingredient is sulfur, which is one of the most abundant minerals on Earth. In contrast, normal batteries need imported materials like cobalt and nickel, which are more expensive and obtained via environmentally harmful mining procedures. But we're still not quite there yet. And there are also issues like the fact that these batteries do have a shorter lifespan. Nevertheless, work is being done to improve this technology, and the first ever lithium-sulfur gigafactory will begin construction in Reno, Nevada in early 2025. Once up and running in 2027, it's expected to produce up to 10 gigawatt hours of batteries every year. Okay, that is everything we've got for you with today's video. Which story did you like the most? And have you heard of any other good news? Let us know in the comments down below. Now, if you want to try CyberGhost VPN, make sure to use our link in the description. CyberGhost VPN will protect your data while you browse and give you full access to all blocked content on the internet. It's a great VPN just like their current deal for $2.03 a month and 45 days money back guaranteed, so it's totally risk-free. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.